We use the sort of word adrenaline loosely, but when you're racing, if you just kind of flopped out in it, and kind of no excitement, you're not going to race well, are you? Okay. And if you're terrified and you're shaking and something's gone wrong, you're not going to race up that well, are you? So, like you've just had a crash and that sort of thing. But if you're a little bit excited, and you're excited enough to be kind of wide-eyed and seeing everything clearly and concentrating, then you're going to do. So there's an ideal amount of excitement that you need to do well. And that might be in a school exam as well. You could be like, oh, I don't like these, or yeah, I'm really keen, I want to do well. So in a race, you've got to, if you're in that zone, then that's where you want to be. And some people, like really good tennis players and really good cricketers, are very good at getting into that excitement zone and then getting out of it. So every time you're a cricketer and you're facing the world's fastest bowler, you've got to be really alert for like 1 second and watch the guy running at you and see the ball in slow motion and hit in the right spot. And then, like Roger Federer in tennis, then you kind of just relax and kind of floppy. And you see mountain bikers are like that, right? Especially downhillers, right? They're very good at being totally keyed up, incredibly keyed up for like 3 minutes, and then super unkeyed. Well, that's not the right word, but super, like, okay? Because they know they've got to get really excited, because it's like they could kill themselves on the downhill, and then they're so keyed up that they can't stay like that all day. They've got to like chill out. Okay, so so good people who do those sprint sports are really good at getting excited and getting down. But you can only do that so many times a day, because every time you get really keyed up, uses a lot of mental energy, and you can't stay like that all day, right? And when you get really keyed up, it uses a certain amount of petrol, of energy. And maybe, people know in a race you can maybe have 5 or 6 all-out sprints in a race, and that's about it for the day. Most cyclists know that. And if you're in a cross-country race and it's 2 hours and you're going really, really hard, you can't afford to have a massive finish. You have a massive sprint at the beginning and another one at the end, but you can't. If someone is stronger than you and they keep surging, and you keep following them, you know that you get burnt off. Okay, so you can't match every single sprint, and because you need a lot of adrenaline, a lot of concentration. You use up your muscle sugars, your sort of emergency reserves, and you use them up when you get a disaster like a puncture or a crash. It's almost equivalent to another sprint. Okay. Sometimes you have a disaster, it's so wired and so mad that for the next 2 minutes you can just go like the clappers and catch the people who and that's so often you have to do that. It's no good being wired up and then just riding slowly, because it's the end of your race. So if you do have a disaster and you get fired up, then you've got to go, right, next job, forget about the crash, next job, and use that energy, because it'll last a minute or two, and then you often go into a little bit of a flat spot. So you'll see like a guy in a track race, someone will trip, and they'll get up immediately and they'll just sprint like anything, and they'll catch up with other people, and then if other people know, they'll listen for them coming, and what they could do, as soon as they hear them catch up, they'll sprint off, then the person's dead. Okay? But if the person who tripped and gets all, like the person who crashes, catches up, and other people let them catch up, then that person might be stronger than them, right? Because they kind of psychologically, it's good, good for them, and they've got back to where they were.